I love it though. But anyway, Salam Barak fam, Salam Barak. Hopping on here really quick, really quick. Um, just to speak really quick about failure. You know what I'm saying? Failure isn't really a detrimental thing. Failure is an opportunity for growth, as we know, right? That's pretty much easy. We can get like that. But you know why many people wish for your failure? I was, just meditating with Abba about this. And it's funny because it's nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. Just a random thought. So that usually means something that's preceded or will come from it in process. You know what I mean? So it's something to look out for. So I won't be affected. You know what I'm saying? That's what it usually means when thoughts like this come in. Just like dreams, been led to kind of go into dreams a little bit. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy, but a little bit because of dreams deal with a lot about your past. You know what I'm saying? It's like what happened in the past towards what's going in the future. Your dream you're having in the future about things of the past or things of the past, vice versa. But that's not where I'm going with this. I'm going back to failure, right? When people usually wish failure on you, not even wishing failure, but maybe like an innocent competition. But maybe like a friendly competition. You know what I mean? For example, not even a useless person. And this person, if you see this is not negative against you at all. Love you, brother. But I was driving to a stop, and I got out and I saw the guy, and I had a feeling. I just knew. I started in my truck and everything like that. And he's pulling in and I'm pulling out, right? Heading up to Maryland, basically, where I'm going. And I get to Maryland and, he's there before me. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Because, I don't race. The days are already written. But, this isn't a terrible thing. These things happen. People turn things into competition. I don't know why. I don't compete. I just build for one, as Ak knows about. You know what I'm saying? But things like that, things that come up, I reckon that's maybe where that thought came from. But that's not even wishing failure, but it's wishing a bettering than another person. And that's to be underlying thing. It's a very sensitive subject in many ways. Because believe it or not, competition is wishing failure upon somebody, but it's just because if they can't do it, it means that person that's watching it and sees them fail. So okay, well, if they can't do it, that means I don't even have to try to do it yet. You know what I'm saying? That means that I don't even have to try to look at that. If they can't do it, I don't feel bad for not even attempting to do it. Say if a person runs a race and they get in 3rd, 4th, 5th place and they didn't practice all week, they didn't ran sprints, they didn't stretch and everything like that, and lose the race. So the person watching, they're like, well, shoot. If they sat here and stretched and practiced and lifted weights all week and they messed around and still lost, I ain't got to do that. Yes, you do. You still do. You still got to better yourself. You still got to better your body. You still got to better what's around you in the ways that you're allowed to. So in order to see that, you got to be in tune with what's going around you. You got to be in tune with what's created. You got to be in tune with creator. Just like I talk about the difference between the argument of a name nowadays. Yahweh, Yahuwah, things like that. But Yahweh or Yavad-He, Vav-He is an action. All 22 characters of the Aleph Ba'it are actions. They're verbs. They're verbs talking about a noun, talking about a source. The persons, places, or things. I make a joke sometimes. They're like, what don't you like? I don't like nouns. What are nouns? Person, places, and things. Those are the things that irritate me, but joke over. But all those things are actions of Abba. So when I say Abba, I say father, just like what basically what was implied to Adam to call him father. You know what I mean? Exactly. Con. And another thing I've been looking at are cues. Social anxiety. You know what I mean? It's not really a thing. It's an over awareness of a thing. You know what I'm saying? So looking at other people and stuff like that, it's like an over awareness of what they have in their life going on, and versus what you could be doing. And what it is curiosity. It's curiosity of something that you might just want to look into. You might just want to study. Now, this is definitely about culture, but it doesn't stop at culture. It goes in life. What is it that has your attention so focused in on what is going on in that person's life? you know. Or you could go on the other side of things, you know, if it has nothing to do with you, and you hear something, then why is it that I'm so involved in this, in fixing this, you know? But that also is necessary sometimes. So again, you see how it's necessary to know your cues, know your soul cues, the things that make you go burr. You know what I mean? Those things that make you. That was just so simple. You know, those things that make you. Dang, that was pretty slow of that person. You know what I mean? And no offense to anybody that takes that offense. I don't have soft skin, so just a slight introduction to me. I'm a southern man, and we don't have soft skin out here. But yeah, just be aware, because basically how this started, we're going back to that point before I hop off of here. Competition, and also what was the other thing? Oh man, these thoughts just run, so it's hard for me to keep up sometimes. Competition, and wonder exactly, you're talking about people. Yeah, people skills, exactly. And some people are afraid of that people skills because they look at that like, nope, because they've seen so many people fail at people skills, and like, well, there just ain't no way to do it. A lot of times with culture, I guess we're still going. A lot of times with culture, one thing that is a major excuse that does get under my tough skin is there's no one way exactly to do it. So there's no way that you could tell anybody how they should do it, and there's no way. And I don't mean to put influxes on that voice, but it is a way. There's always a way. So to think that there's not a way to do anything is insanity, because every time the thing that irritates a person is trying to find a way, or trying to make yourself think that there's no way, which is a way to choose of thinking no way. It's, you know, if you want to break it down, that's still a way. It's still a way that you're choosing to go. Everything is a path, you know. So long story less long. This is for myself too as well. Don't worry too much about the next man's pocket. You know, not the money sense, not the coin sense, but what he got that 8-ball corner pocket going on. You know, you don't know what kind of shot he's gonna hit. You don't know what's going on down the game. You just broke the cue on the middle of the pool table. You don't know which way those balls are going. You see that 8-ball in the corner pocket. You might can do it, but you might not be able to do it. And just because you see somebody not do it doesn't mean it can't be done. A lot of times that's all people are looking at. They're like, oh, that person failed. That means I don't even have to try. Or that just seems very impossible. I don't even have to try to attempt to do it. You know what I mean? These are the things that happen, but these are the things also as well that we can do better in. There is a way. There will be a way. Because Abba says so. That righteous direction, that Yahweh Vav, that's what comes from Father. So put that righteous direction against everything, and get exactly what you're supposed to get out of it, and that's getting out of Kemet. That's getting out of Egypt. That's getting out of Mizraim. That's getting out of miserable things. You know, that's what that leads to. When Moses asked Abba, "What do I tell them your name is?" and he said, "I am that I am" in translation, but really, Yahweh Vav He, the righteous direction of the Father, out of His hand comes the Holy Spirit that is nailed to the obvious Holy Spirit. That's an action. That's not that's an authority, but that's not a. Take this with a grain of salt. If you study to keep going, but that's not a that's not a title. That's an action. Father, He's Abba Yah. You know, and they say Abba Yah, you know, because of the character Yavad and stuff like that, the righteous direction of the hand of the Father. But that's why there's so many translations over time. Al Shaddai, Yahweh, Yahuwah, Most High, but it's all Abba, Father, Source, because from Him comes everything. From Him comes everything, and that means you being able to see other people's failures, but that doesn't mean that you're supposed to stop there. It's because you're supposed to see that, and that means something to you. So figure it out. Figure it out. Like, in the season I posted on here, I'm in a season of Pops just saying to me, there's always a reason, son, now find it. There's always a reason. There's never not a reason. And I say it all the time when I'm speaking to, you know, family, talking with family at the campfire on here on Saturdays at 3. But these things I still got to apply to myself. Sometimes I can't find a reason, but you know what I do? I'll put it in my pocket. And when I stick my hand in my pocket, I'm like, oh yeah, that is right there. Let me go back and look at it. And sometimes that's the proper time to look at it. You know what I'm saying? there's process, there's patience, there's presence. Those are the three things that go on: process, patience, and presence. That's crazy because I gotta write that down. Process, presence, and then you can add praises on the end of that. You know what I'm saying? It's this understanding gets you places, and it saves you from getting caught up in places of other people. Just like competition. Competition is somebody trying to pull you into something. A competition is somebody trying to drag you into something. And sometimes they just want help. Just like what I told the brother. And again, love you, brother. Nothing personal. Just when I told him, I don't race, man. These days are already written. And you know, he got quiet, turned his head, and kind of looked forward again. I'm like, daggone, I hope I ain't just irritated soul like that. But maybe I should have, because it helps you and it helps that person not be so stressed. Because say if I did beat him up there, how would he feel? I wouldn't know anything, but maybe he would have had an attitude with me after all that time. I wouldn't know that, you know. But by me saying that, made him think. It struck, you know, cut the ground, and you know, we'll talk more about Zion this Shabbat too when we get into it on Saturday at 3. We're gonna go every Saturday. We're gonna keep going every Saturday, but needed rest, and forgot it was my born day coming up anyway. But anyway, back to the original thing. That could help, you know. Me saying that wasn't a smart thing to say. Wasn't you just a sore loser. It wasn't anything like that. It was hey man, why are you trying to race a day that's already written? No matter how fast you go. Just like this spot right here. This spot does not move fast at all, but that's okay. I was driving up here. I was like, man, I need a utensil to eat my food, but you know, I'm trying to get this day over with. But then I thought, I'm like, well, if I hurry up and get there either way, it's not gonna make no difference. at least 45 minutes to an hour I'm gonna be here. So I may as well just take a stop. And if a truck's in front of me, that's just another 30 minutes. Like, let's zoom out and then refocus back on life, on things, you know. See the problem, zoom out, and keep talking to yourself and keep talking it out with Abba if that problem isn't solving itself immediately. Because if it isn't solving itself immediately, it just means that it's not time to solve it yet. It's going to be a time, but that time just ain't came yet. That's it. That's all. That's the message. It's never never. Just not now. Maybe something else, or not just quite like that. Because that's our perception. That's our physical concepts of life that we've held on, that we try to project in many different ways. That gives us disappointment, because those projections are for those times. You know, even if you use the same thing at a different time, what you're doing is still learning a new lesson. And that thing over time has grown. You know, that thing that you learned over time has grown because it's stuck to everything else. Imagine a lint ball, right? Exactly, sir. Exactly. It's like when we talk like this and talk it out, instead of just say, hey, meditate. And people just be like, huh? You know? But breaking down the process. All praises. Breaking down the process. Yeah, now other thought, that was just reiterating, going deeper and deeper. So that wasn't even a thing. But yeah, all together, figure it out. Oh, the lint situation. Never mind. Ravak said no. Go back. The lint situation, just like a ball of lint. You know, you put that. You got one thing of lint, right? You throw one. You wash one load of clothes. You throw the clothes in the dryer. Boom. That's the process. Start the dryer. Boom. Take them clothes out. Right? But there's lint left behind. Oh, this is gonna be a great analogy. I like this one. There's lint left behind, right? You throw another, you know, do the process again, throw the clothes out, take it out. Lint's still in there, but that lint builds up. You know, you take that lint filter out because, you know, when it starts to smell smoky, you know, you probably should have changed it. So you take that lint filter out and you start to look inside and you see all these different pieces of lint, right? You might could see some foreign objects in there too, right? But that's because one thing stuck with the next, and stuck with the next, and stuck with the next, and it's all connected into this one thing now. Now that is trash, but it still holds value. It still holds value. But you know, that's what that means. It doesn't take a big show, cross legs in a row. It takes thinking and breathing. Exactly. It don't take many things. Those practices are just mental psyches. You just psych yourself into thinking, and that's the only way to get to a place of meditation. You know, I walk just like this. This is meditation, and these thoughts, they just run. And when they get to running, and I ain't got nowhere to put them, I'm like, okay, it's time to go live because apparently I go back and look at these too, you know. But this is meditation. I'm getting these thoughts out so more thoughts can come in because mega mind. You know what I'm saying? Mega mind, man. Mega mind. But yeah, do this. I encourage this. I encourage y'all to do this, you know. Like Ak always says, speak life to your loved ones. He dropped that token and I grabbed that thing and held on to it ever since. But do that. Do that. Look around, see what's going on around you. Don't be afraid of the looks that you get. Don't be afraid of the emotions that you get. Don't get afraid of the shoulders you brush across. Don't get afraid of anything like that. Don't be afraid to tell some person, hey, I had a little flashback. Don't tell me to calm down. That's the worst thing you can tell me is calm down. But calm down. Chill out. It's okay. It's okay. But if your wife says the worst thing you can say is tell her to calm down, don't tell her to calm down. Figure out a way. Figure out a way. But yeah, just help people realize, maintain low tone. Maintain low tone. Like when I was cleaning this past Shabbat, that's what happened. Just prepping and stuff like that. I was just led to go into the cocoon, as me and my big brother say, for reasons not important, not needed to be brought on here. But yeah, play some jazz, smooth jumps. You know, I listen to jazz all the time. But yeah, I was cleaning and it was so quiet. Like all I could hear was the ringing in my ears. That was it. All I could hear was the ringing in my ears. And you know how quiet I had to be for that ringing in my ears to be so loud, but it's really so low. Maintain low tone. Maintain peace. That's what I mean. Maintain low tone. So you can hear that ringing in your ears. So you can hear Abba's voice. And that voice is always quieter than the rest, right? So you got to be quiet to hear it. Because if you don't, you can't even hear the wings of the birds as they fly across. You know, things like that of that nature. But we didn't hit 20 minutes, fam. We didn't hit 20 minutes. But Salam al-Barak, fam. Salam al-Barak. I pray that this was edifying to you. It's edifying in some type of way because it's edifying to me. Not saying that I'm above all, but you know, sometimes it's just you. Like this is a real life thing. This is a real life thing. Yeah, Khan, caught that? Khan. But yeah, Salam al-Barak, fam. Salam al-Barak. Thank y'all for popping in here. Continue to have a blessed day. Yes, sir. Tada Shalom. Yes, sir. Peace and blessings, fam. Many peace and blessings. Salam al-Barak. Those blessings, those peace in blessings, the blessings that bring peace, and see the blessings in the peace, and see the peace that leads you to blessings, and blessings will lead you back and forth. You know, that's that Hebrew way. That's that Hebrew way. But yes, until next time, fam, if I don't get on here again during the week, I'll definitely see y'all on Shabbat, this Saturday on here on live. Those that don't know, we usually go about a couple hours. But we're going to go into the character of Zion. Zion, the harvesting tool of not only earth, but of water as well. Right? That might just itch a lot of ears. We going in on that. And Tada Teflon, he done dropped something in Discord. That's gonna go right along with it too. Because how do I drop this a little bit without going into this whole thing? So basically where I was led with this, right? I'm an artist. I like to draw, and I'm staring at the character of Zion. Zion is not just looks like a chucking tool or maybe a blade, right? But if you look at it also as well, it also develops itself into an ark. Ark of the Covenant, Noah's Ark, the work of wood on waters, working earth, which is seed and wood, right? But also working the waters. We're going to talk about Mount Hermon, or Hermon, which is where the ministry of the Messiah started. That's the working of the waters. Yo, but that means, I heard the yo, that means it's time for me to go. But yeah, haha, I guess that's the best way to drop it. Ravaka is be Ravakin. But Salam al-Barak, fam. Love y'all. Till next time. Peace.